Okay, so time to install VMware Workstation. Just to give you a bit of an idea on how that's going to look, we're going to install the actual software to our C drive into program files, and we will run a number of our virtual machines from this location here. So once we've installed VMware Workstation, we'll configure the default VM installation path to D drive, labbing it. So let us go to our download. So I've already downloaded the software. You just grab it from the VMware site. You will need a login to grab it. It is a licensed product. You can download it and run it for 30 days in a trial. I think the product is about $150 to get a full license, and it will last you forever for the version that is being released. So I think version 17 is out. I don't have a license for that just yet, so I'm sticking with version 16 for the time being. So let's run up the install. It's pretty straightforward. There's not really much to this, but just for completeness sake, I just wanted to just quickly run through it. We'll accept the end user license agreement. We'll install the enhanced keyboard driver. So this is a feature, I believe, if you've got a keyboard with additional keys that you might want to utilize inside your virtual machines, use this option. I don't actually have one of those keyboards, but I tick the box anyways. And I don't generally join the improvement program. I do check for product updates, so if there's depending on what version you're on, if there's a patch release or an update release, it will let you know every time you open up VMware Workstation. And happy with that. So we'll just run the install. I'll just pause the recording and I'll come back after I've rebooted the machine. Okay, so VMware Workstation is now installed, so we can load it up. Okay, so the first thing I normally do, there we get a little bit of info. VMware Workstation 17 Pro is available. Just remind me later. The first thing we need to do, or that I like to do, just set up the default location for our virtual machines. So that's as shown before. So in the D drive, labbing it folder. So every time we go to create a new virtual machine, that is the default location it's going to give us. And the other bit to sort out, which is really important, is the networking for VMware Workstation. So click on the change settings. So I've got two physical network connections on this box. One is, as mentioned before, one is for, I guess you could call it management. It's the NIC that I connect to when I'm remoting into this lab server. And the other connection is actually for the lab network itself. So from a VMware Workstation point of view, I'm not really interested in managing the management network. And if I show you here, I've got two network interfaces. This is the one that I've remoted into this machine on. This is the one that the lab is actually physically going to run on. And if I flick back here into our diagram, you can see here, this is the 192.168.185.25 NIC. That's the physical network connection on this server. That's the one that we're really focusing on for the purpose of this this environment. So back in our lab, and if I just minimize that, so I'll just remove this one out of the way, and I will keep this Realtek machine. So just to reiterate, that's the Realtek PCI 2.5 gigabit connection. that's the one that I want to keep. That's what I'm going to be bridging my connections. So our first virtual machine will be the PF Sense box. That's going to be our so-called router and firewall for this lab environment. It's going to have 2 NICs associated to it. One of those will be on this network, which will give us internet access for our virtual machines inside the network, and the other interface will be for the actual internal network itself. So I'll click OK to that, and that's pretty much it for VMware Workstation setup. We're now ready to commence our first VM install.